So the talk of the town today, as at Wednesday afternoon, is all about Apple. As I bring up the daily chart of Apple, look at what has occurred. You can see our breakout trigger here, around $120.96. I was actually expecting Apple to sort of move into a sideways type of consolidation short term into some form of a stair-step pattern, and then to eventually break out to the upside. As you can see, Apple has continued the breakout. It's closed today at $124.86. A very easy trade, and this is just adding to the profits which we have already created as at Tuesday's trading session. If not, we've doubled, potentially tripled them as at the close on Wednesday. So congratulations all of those people in that pro analysis class. Apple is a fantastic swing trade for us at the moment. Again, my targets are still all the way up here at about $129.90. We still have about $5 of intrinsic value to be made into those call options. So as at currently, I'm leaving this position on the table. What I will do, in fact, is start to bring up my stop. At the moment, I left it at $119.44. That was going into trading on Wednesday. Now, of course, that we have Wednesday's trading session, I'm happy, wrong line, to bring this up and start locking in profits at the low of today's candle. So that comes in, just with a little bit room, a little bit of additional room, about $122.28. Okay, so you can see that we're starting to lock in profit. Additionally, what you can do is you can keep your stop down at that level that we were first looking at, and then start to trail it with the 10 exponential moving average. Obviously, we're looking at this Apple trade as a new trend breakout. It's something which is going to be in effect for at least the month of February, even potentially March. So if you want to look at it at a longer type of swing trade and you're willing to take in a little bit of a retracement, then you can move your stop back down to that level that it was originally at as per the breakout on Tuesday. Moving into some additional stocks, one which I want to reference first of all is Netflix. Netflix today had a fake breakout, and you can see why we had our trigger placed here at about $463.30. I wanted to give it some additional room to mitigate the chances of it being a false breakout. Now, if I zoom in on the detail right here, you can see on the daily, let me just get this into perspective, we have what we call pretty much a shooting star candlestick or a false breakout to the upside. A lot of longs would have been caught in this area right here. You can see that we elegantly placed our trigger at 463.30. We allowed some extra room to the upside, and if you pay attention to this candlestick, this figure right here, you can see the high of the day was $462.97. So we mitigated the possibility of a whipsaw. You can see right here that due to the 33-cent buffer, we didn't get triggered into calls. What I can do right now is move this up just slightly and say that if Netflix breaks 464.03, then I'm confident that we're going to continue in the bullish direction. I was really waiting and anticipating for a candle of this nature. We got it today as at the close of Wednesday's trading session. Very comfortable now placing that trigger on Netflix. I've adjusted it. It's now at about $464.03 on that particular trade. Running through some additional stocks in our list, Amazon today is a nice continuation pattern. You have my trigger for that in that pro analysis class. Bar, it's still exceptionally weak, isn't it? You can see that bearish engulfing. It looks as if we're going to come back down and test these IPO lows. Pay attention to that macro short trigger, which I've made very clear what I'm interested in over the weekend. So pay attention to that. Baidu is reporting earnings. After market close, I will put out a separate video to see what the price of Baidu is doing, and also the price of Tesla. They're two stocks which are obviously going to move after market today. Caterpillar has pulled back slightly. I was telling you over the weekend that you didn't want to swing trade Caterpillar this week. This is justifying that. It is going to move sideways from here on in. So expect Thursday and Friday to pretty much move sideways on Caterpillar. There's going to be no good swing trade. FAS is dancing all around our long trigger at 120.92. Still have a target up here about 127.65, which still looks pretty decent. Facebook today up $1.32, starting to get a bit of a swing to the upside. Again, it doesn't make sense to buy at this level. It doesn't make sense to sell. We're really waiting for that macro trend breakout. It's still not there, but it's good to see a little bit of life come back into Facebook. It's really been quite sleepless, or at least been sleeping for the better part of 3 or 4 months. And finally, this could be the start as the market begins to break out that Facebook could come back to life. Google is still dancing around that 100 declining simple moving average. Paying attention to this particular trade, it should be a very nice trade above, that trigger right there, 547 give or take. GoPro today, for me personally, stopped me out. Now, yesterday I told you where I was placing my stop on this particular trade. I didn't want to hold too much additional risk based on the strength of the market. As at today, I've been stopped out of GoPro above the high of yesterday's candle. Now, again, it's a losing trade, but have a look at the risk. The risk itself was such a small level, such a small quantity. And you can see right here, 44.88 was give or take our entry. We have a stop here at 45.52. What's that? It's about 70 cents of risk. Okay, when you've placed two trades in a week, one is down 70 cents, the other, of course, being Apple, which is up, you know, what's it up? Close to $4 or $5. You can see how the risk and reward of trading, when you've got $4 less a 70-cent loss, adds up. And of course, you can be profitable long term. So you can see that it's annoying and frustrating to take a loss in a stock, but of course when you have the trade setups correctly, the profits are going to obviously overthrow and overcome any minimal risks or losses which you take on from stocks from time to time. I'm still quite bearish on GoPro. It'd be interesting to see how this lockup affects the price on Tuesday next week. Obviously there's the bank holiday on Monday, so pay attention to that, but as at currently I'm out of GoPro. I do know a lot of students who instead place their stop above this candlestick right here. If that's the case, I'm happy for you to do that, just as long as you're aware of the risk. That's my biggest concern for you moving forward. Halliburton again continuing to pull back. Oil following the same as pretty much the same price path as oil. Nothing really to talk about in the way of the Howell trade. Netflix, again, I've referenced that. Tesla's reporting earnings as at the end or the close of market at the moment. And to conclude with, Twitter appears to be holding this gap, and there's a really good chance that we're going to break out above the gap swing high, or the gap and go, around $48.75. So please pay attention to that particular trade on Twitter. It looks as if it's going to continue. So that's a Wednesday afternoon market recap. Just finishing with some of the markets. NASDAQ, I mean, first of all, these three market charts at the moment are influencing, or at least taking into account aftermarket levels. So it's not actually the close of market. So if we have a look at any of these stocks or these markets right now, what I can say first of all is that all three of these markets closed flat today. So please don't pay too much attention to the overall sentiment of the candlestick. What I can say is that it was generally a pretty flat trading session to a down type of trading day, but moving into the close, there was some really ferocious sort of buying taking place. So if that's anything to go by, of course, the location which it's taking place for the Dow Jones, if we can clear this candlestick going back to Thursday last week, or Friday last week, pardon me, there's a really good chance that this is going to break out. When we have a look at the S&P, these markets were more so slightly more neutral, very close to that same candlestick and closer to that resistance level. And when we have a look at the NASDAQ, this is pretty much, I mean, dancing all around that macro breakout, which we've been really hoping for since 2015. We're so close now. We may even see it this week, which is going to be exciting. That works really well for trades like Apple. It works well for continuation trades on Amazon, and also continuation trades on Netflix when it wants to confirm above that new level. All right, so that's the Wednesday afternoon market recap. Have a great evening. Email me any questions which you may have, but I mean, really the talk of the town or talk of the trading week has been Apple, and rightly so. Great continuation to the upside. Let's just monitor this and see what happens as we close and round out this trading week. All the best. Goodbye.